What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a tad bit of an earlier Chicago Bulls weekly to provide for you guys ahead of this upcoming week for the Chicago Bulls, which is so pivotal for our season, as well as looking at the previous week, which was fairly light for the Chicago Bulls in terms of schedule, and discussing the goods and the bads there, discussing what's to come. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, their previous week and the upcoming week they have that I truly believe is so crucial for the Bulls organization. Now, we had two games this week. Granted, one of them will be against Detroit coming up. For people in Chicago, that will be on a Sunday. So, you could add the Detroit game in there if you like. But for someone like me who's in Australia, that Bulls game is on a Monday. And I want to keep it on a Monday. And I want to do the schedule according to my liking so I don't get confused in the future. It's really as simple as that for me. Hopefully you guys understand. But we ended up going 1-1 this week for the Chicago Bulls. A neutral standpoint, which basically leaves us in the exact same position as we were previously in terms of our record. However, I must say, in terms of the record and being the same, the performances have been better this week. And that is a big positive to take away from it. Starting off with that Utah Jazz game, and we ended up winning that game 130-113. It was an incredible performance from the Chicago Bulls. Offensively, everybody getting involved. We got a lot of steals, good transition points. Utah made things a little bit easier for us. One thing about Utah is that when they lose, they tend to lose big. And that seemed to be the exact same way with the Chicago Bulls and how we managed to run away with that game in the second half. It was a good game to watch, probably the best game of our season, and the fact that it took that long to see a performance like that for the Chicago Bulls, I think speaks volumes. But nonetheless, I'm glad that we got the win, and I'm glad that we ended up having the performance that we had. And that is one of the games, probably the only game this season you could truly look at and be very happy, rewatch it over and over and over again, and really just be proud of that Bulls performance in that specific game. But then we had the next game against the Phoenix Suns. No Devin Booker in this game, so that's usually the guy that cooks us for the Phoenix Suns. However, we still lost this game 116-115 in an overtime performance. This game was a very unique one in which we started off really poorly and we had to scratch and fight and claw our way back into the game. I've never seen the Bulls start that badly this season. That was usually a last season trend where we started games really, really poorly. And again, I mean poorly to that extent. I think the Bulls have started poorly in games, but not that poor, if you know what I mean. I mean, 17-4 run at the beginning of the game is ridiculous. And the fact that we fought that way, it makes me think in my mind, if we had a better start to the game, we would have won the game pretty comfortably in my eyes. But we didn't. We had a terrible start, and we had to fight and scratch and claw to overtime, in which we just fell short. And again, Phoenix is a dangerous team. They've not had the best start. Bradley Beal coming back. He didn't have the best start to his, obviously, campaign in the season and stuff of that nature. No Devin Booker. It's not the most powerful Phoenix Suns team we'll ever see, but it's still a dangerous one with Kevin Durant in there. Obviously, Grayson Allen, for whatever reason, just absolutely loves to cook the Chicago Bulls, and he had a terrific performance. So, again, there's a lot of, I guess, things there that we could be upset about. But in the end, the performance was it was okay, if you know what I mean. I think 115 points in overtime, you could obviously ask for more, but at the end of the day, it was a very close game where the offenses of both teams wasn't necessarily the vocal point. Now, let's give out the awards for the Chicago Bulls. We tend to give out 4 awards for the Chicago Bulls, and that is the Must Improve, which is the negative award, and then we got the Sixth Man of the Week, the Player of the Week, and the Defensive Player of the Week, where we look at the best bench player, the best defensive player, and the overall best player on the week. Let's start off with the must improve, and I feel like this is an unfortunate one to give, but I have to give it just by what I was saying in my game reaction videos. It would have to go to Torrey Craig, but I'm starting to realize something about this power forward position that I feel like is an essential part of me giving this must improve to him. In the last 3 Bulls weeklies, I've given the must improve to the power forwards, whether it's Patrick Williams or Torrey Craig. And for whatever reason, the power forward that actually starts for the Chicago Bulls is tending to be the one that seems to be the one that doesn't necessarily shine for the Chicago Bulls. That could be Torrey Craig with his lack of offense. I still like what he does in terms of off-ball movement and hustle and rebounding and defensive work. He gets into foul trouble, yes, but he does a lot of good things in that department, which is great. But every power forward we've started with the Chicago Bulls team has not succeeded in that position since they have started. Now, this is not an advocacy to go and bring back Patrick Williams into the starting lineup. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is there's clearly a situation going on with our lineups, adjustments, coaching, or even just the players themselves, that power forward position does not get a chance to succeed in this current team. So that's something that needs to be addressed wholeheartedly, and I think Billy Donovan has to find a way to make the power forward, whoever it may be that starts in that position, better utilized. Because I think every single time, again, every single Bulls Weekly, the must improve goes to the starting power forward from the 3 that we have done. Something has to give there, in my opinion. So Torrey Craig, unfortunately, will be my must improved. But we go to the defensive player of the week, and who could that be? None other than Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso, again, had a tremendous game against the Phoenix Suns defensively, was getting charges, steals, blocks. When you get someone like Kevin Durant, who's a superstar in the NBA, and someone that I very much do respect, no matter what people call him, I respect Kevin Durant as a player. He's a heck of a player to watch. He's just a heck of a player in general. When someone of that stature gives praise to Alex Caruso, basically saying the Bulls are lucky to have him. He knows how to get under people's skin, and he can do it with the best of them. He's a very good defensive player. And, you know, just basically giving a lot of compliments to Alex Caruso. In my opinion, that means something, and that means that Alex Caruso has the respect of the league. And he showed it in that game against Phoenix, which is why that conversation even began. And we also saw that against the Utah Jazz as well, where he wasn't necessarily the most vocalist point on the offensive end, but he was everywhere defensively for both of these games. The plus minus speaks for itself as well. But moving into that, Alex Caruso is also the 6th man of the week. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He's got 2 awards this week, and it stands for itself. Not only was he a menace on the defensive end, he was a menace offensively off of that bench against Phoenix, and he had extra 10 points against the Jazz as well. He made 3 straight threes in a row, 19-point performance. That was fantastic to see off of our bench. And again, that kind of brought up the conversation of why Alex Caruso is being brought up. The whole story of the Lakers wanting Alex Caruso, in my opinion, was because of how good Caruso has started his season. He's had one of the best starts to his season in his career. This season has been a good start for Alex Caruso by far, so fair play to him. And in saying that as well, Alex Caruso is also my player of the week. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. 3 awards for Alex Caruso. And I think this is an absolute first for the Chicago Bulls, where in my Bulls Weeklies, I've done about 3 years worth of these. Maybe we're getting to the 4th year, I believe. And I don't think I've ever given 3 of the most positive awards to the same person. I don't think that's ever happened in any Bulls Weekly ever, but this week, that is going to change, because Alex Caruso, in my eyes, is the defensive player of the week, the 6th man of the week, and the player of the week in general. He was that good this week, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, some guys might have scored more points, but I don't think anybody made the impact that Alex Caruso made this week in the 2 games that we played. Fair play to him. Now, let's quickly talk about what's to come for the Chicago Bulls, because there is a lot of important games that we have here. Starting off with our first game against the Detroit Pistons. Again, this is obviously a game that will that the Pistons beat us in the past. This is a home game, and again, we have a lot of rest. This should be a game we should feel comfortable in, I would hope. The Bucks game, which is a back-to-back away from home. Again, it speaks for itself. The Bucks are a dangerous team, and there's a rivalry there. Damian Lillard, Giannis. Of course, this is an important game, and we have to bring our best. Orlando is next, and that is at home a couple days after that Bucks game. A big, interesting game. The Magic have been playing fairly well for the most part, so that's going to be very interesting. We also get them again a couple days after that in an in-season tournament game, and that is extra incentive. Again, we have to stay in the in-season tournament. You have to beat a team like Orlando, and then a back-to-back situation, last but not least, against Miami. Now, you might be saying, these are winnable games for the Bulls, and I do believe most of them are winnable for the Chicago Bulls. Of course, Miami is the team that's struggling at the moment, but why is this an important stretch? Why did I say at the very beginning of the video, this is an important stretch? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the vast majority of these games have very, very, very few traveling hours. Basically, most of these games are at home, except for the Bucks game, which, of course, is a couple of hours away from the United Center and from Chicago. Every single other one of these games are at home. The best way to be a championship, a contending, or even a good team, defend home court. This is the Bulls' opportunity to do that. What do you guys think? Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. follow, and or subscribe if you are new. I will see you in the next Bulls related video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.